Hey guys, welcome back. So today I'm out here with an assortment of bullpups. I want to start off a video series dedicated to bullpups, but I'm not going to do any reviews this afternoon. What I want to talk about is the concept of the bullpup, what it brings to the table in terms of benefits, and some of the challenges it also brings to the table. So anyway, let's get started. The primary benefit to the bullpup is its overall length, or its shortened overall length. This is a standard M4 style carbine. This rifle has a 16-inch barrel. You'll notice when I have it in my shoulder, the rifle is fairly long. It makes it a little bit more clumsy moving from target to target, and it definitely makes it harder to hold the rifle in the ready position for extended periods of time like this. That's where the bullpup comes in. You'll notice this bullpup, which also has a 16-inch barrel, is much shorter in overall length when compared to the M4. The bullpup has the barrel that comes all the way back here, and that's the secret to the bullpup's design. The action of the rifle is back here in the buttstock versus being forward of the shooter's face like in the case of the M4. Shooting the bullpup requires you to insert the magazine into this section of the rifle, charge it, and fire it. Let's take a look at this AUG being fired. Notice the rounds are being kicked out, the spent casings are being kicked out right here from the ejection port. It's right by my face. That's how the bullpup gets that overall length shortened. Now this rifle is very handy in close spaces, CQB type environments, or operating from a vehicle. That's where the benefit of the bullpup's overall length really starts to shine. Operating inside the confines of a vehicle kind of represents the ultimate in CQB challenges. It's a very tight space to operate within. I want to show you the difference between the carbine length rifle. I have an M4 style rifle here, and a bullpup. In this case we'll use the AUG again. To bring this weapon up and make it ready to get it out the window to fire at the threat that we have over there, I have to bring the weapon up over my shoulder and around because of the length of the rifle. I can't bring the weapon up into my shoulder because I'll hit the glass, so it just is way too long. Let me show you what it would look like to fire this weapon out the window at the threat that we have over there. Bring the weapon up over the shoulder and fire. To reload inside the vehicle, the barrel has to be outside the window. See what that looks like with the bullpup. Now I'm back in the Jeep, and this time I have the AUG. Now to bring the AUG up and get it ready, I can put it in my shoulder and bring it around. It's that short. I can bring it up over the wheel and have the rifle in my shoulder. That's the biggest advantage to the bullpup, that short overall length. To fire this weapon out the window at this threat, I'll show you what that looks like. To do a reload with the AUG, I can have the barrel back inside the vehicle if that matters to you, but to reload the AUG, that's what it looks like. The shorter overall length of the rifle makes it very handy in the confines of tight spaces. If I had to and the threat was in front of me, I can bring the weapon up, shoulder it, and fire it straight out, straight through the glass if need be. It's a very short, handy weapon. So let's talk about reloads. I'm going to start off doing a reload on the M4. With the M4, you have everything in places where you're used to having it, right? You have your magazine well out front, you're firing the weapon, you can either bring it up like this to reload it, or you can reload it in the shoulder. You can reload it any number of ways, and most people are used to doing it that way. The bullpup changes that up. Let's take a look at a reload on an M4. So now the gun runs dry. I can just drop the magazine out, grab another magazine, put it in, hit the button, and go. The weapon can stay in the shoulder. I can see everything from here very easily. So it's actually really easy to do a reload on an M4 style rifle. Let's see what that looks like with the Steyr AUG. Now let's talk about reloads with the AUG. The AUG obviously is quite a bit different than the M4 style rifle. The magazine is back here. So when I go to change the magazine, I have to reach back here to operate the controls to release the magazine, to insert a new magazine. Now this is also a NATO AUG, which means that this rifle uses standard M16 AR-15 style magazines. It does not have the bolt release over here, which is something you give up when you go to this magazine configuration. The standard A3 AUG has a bolt release here when you're using standard AUG magazines. With this rifle, I have to close the bolt by operating the charging handle. So that when you're firing this weapon, when it goes to reload, you have to come back here, release the magazine, grab another magazine, put one in. Now some folks will do the AK style bump, where they'll hit the release with another magazine, knock the first magazine out, stick that one in, and charge the weapon. But I'm not that well rehearsed with it. I don't find it to be that all reliable. So unlike the M4, I bring the hand back, release the magazine, throw it away, grab another magazine, put it in, and charge the rifle. Let's see what that looks like. So it's just a little bit different. Yes, it is slower. Yes, it has one extra step. Let's talk about one of the downsides to some of the Bullpup designs out there, such as the AUG. Offhand shooting becomes the weakness of the rifle in some cases. Now I'll show you a rifle where that is not the case. But when you're shooting offhand with the M4, you're firing on your strong side. I'm strong side right hand. If I transition to the offhand, now to fire the weapon, I have to worry about brass. Well, in this case I don't, because this is an A2 and has a brass deflector. Notice that the ammo goes nowhere near my face. If I take a Steyr AUG and do the same thing, this is where things get different. In this shoulder, it's not a problem because the brass is going that way. However, when I transition to the offhand, when I fire, watch what happens. The brass kisses me in the face. It doesn't hurt. It can be distracting, right? So a lot of people say that that's very bad. If you're shooting a lot offhand, yeah, it's something that'll actually get your attention. It might take your attention off the threat. There are some fixes for that. You'll see people on the Steyr website doing things like this, putting their hand here, using it as an ejection buffer, and that causes the brass to go away from your face. Also, you can try different ammunition. I'm shooting Wolf out of this, and it does come straight back at my face. If you use some hot or 5.56, it has a tendency to go further out to the side and not necessarily kiss you in the face. And this is where the FS2000 comes in. The FS2000, if you've seen some of my other videos, has an ejection port in the front of the rifle. That means the brass comes nowhere near the shooter's face, no matter what shoulder you fire it from. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. Firing it from the offhand, it kicks the brass out and away from the shooter. It also has the added benefit, if you're on a line firing, it's not throwing brass directly at the person standing next to you. The brass just kind of falls out the ejection port. It's really kind of a slick setup and definitely solves the problem with the Bullpup having the ejection port back here. There's another Bullpup design out there I haven't talked too much so far about, and that is the P90. This is manufactured by FNH, and this is a PS90 semi-automatic rifle, but I've SBR'd it so it has the appearance of a P90, but it is a semi-automatic rifle. Now the P90 changes things up yet again in that the magazine that it feeds from sits on top of the rifle. That means it also ejects out the bottom of the rifle. It doesn't throw the brass out the front like the F2000. It throws the ammunition, the spent casings, out the bottom of the rifle. The 5.7 by 28 millimeter cartridge isn't really a full power rifle cartridge. It looks like a little stumpy 223 or 5.56 round, but at CQB ranges, it's a pretty effective round. And this rifle is so short, it really is almost the same thing as a handgun. It's ambidextrous, it has charging handles on both sides, and the recoil is non-existent, but it's a very short, handy, compact little carbine. You can easily fire it from either right or left hand because it again ejects out the bottom. Very easy carbine to use. I'm actually a big fan of the P90. Another one of the areas where people talk negatively about the Bullpup design in general is when it comes to doing magazine changes from the prone. This is what a magazine change looks like from the prone with the AUG. Drop the magazine out. The biggest challenge is getting the magazine out of your vest, put it in the rifle. I don't find that magazine changes from the prone is really much harder than it is with the standard M4. In the end, I believe that the Bullpup offers a lot of functionality that a conventional rifle doesn't offer. They're not perfect. They do fix the overall length issue. They do make a very handy CQB rifle or home defense rifle or something like that. But on the other hand, they do have some shortcomings, like the AUG with the ejection port. If you can't work around that, I have found a way to work around it. It doesn't bother me, but if you can't work around that, The Bullpup may not be for you. That, or you could consider an F2000 or FS2000. But even that rifle has shortcomings. I didn't talk too much about those earlier, but because it doesn't have a conventional ejection port, if you have a malfunction, you have to drop the magazine out, shake the malfunction out of the gun. It's just a little bit more cumbersome to clear malfunctions from than a conventional rifle like the AUG. I really like the AUG. I shoot right-handed or strong side over 90% of the time, so I can live with the shortcomings of the brass coming back towards my face if I'm using soft ammo like Wolf. So it's really a trade-off. Do I think that bullpups are bad designs? No. Do I use a bullpup as my go-to rifle? No. I still prefer conventional carbine. As you know, I like the AK, I like the ACR, SCAR, things like that. But I don't discount the bullpup. I think the bullpup definitely has a place out there, and I think that if you're willing to work around some of the shortcomings, there are some tremendous benefits to this particular design. If you guys have any questions about what you've seen this afternoon, you know you can ask those questions on our Facebook page. I'll put the link to Facebook down below. I really appreciate all the subscriptions, everybody. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys soon. These gloves can be a bit hard to find. You'll notice I haven't been shooting with them for quite some time now. I got some new gloves in the mail, and I've already ruined them with the gas system on the AUG, getting my finger up there too close to it. What a pain in the rear end that is. $40.